I sabotaged my own daughter's chance at the gifted program. When the rejection letter arrived in our mailbox, my wife threw it at my chest and started screaming. The paper hit my shirt and fell to the kitchen floor. I bent down to pick it up and my hands were shaking so hard I could barely grip it. My daughter Mila was standing in the doorway with tears already streaming down her face. She had scored in the top 2% on every assessment for 3 years straight. The gifted program was supposed to be her future. My wife slammed her palm on the counter and demanded to know how this happened. I felt sweat breaking out across my forehead as I stared at the words on the page. The letter said Mila failed to meet behavioral requirements based on teacher evaluation. I knew exactly why that evaluation existed. I had made sure it would. 2 months earlier, I had volunteered to help organize the gifted program orientation night at the community center. I carried folding chairs from the storage closet while Dr. Harmon set up his presentation slides. He ran the gifted program and every parent in the district treated him like a genius. I stacked the chairs along the back wall and noticed his laptop was open on the podium. He stepped outside to take a phone call and I glanced at his screen. My stomach dropped when I saw a folder labeled candidate tracking with dozens of student photos inside. I moved the mouse and clicked on a random file. What I read made my hands go ice cold. There were notes about family income levels and phrases like parents easily influenced and compliant household. Another file mentioned extracting supplemental funding through family donations. I heard footsteps and quickly stepped away from the laptop. Dr. Harmon walked back in and smiled at me like nothing was wrong. I convinced myself I had misunderstood what I saw on that screen. Dr. Harmon had a doctorate from a prestigious university. His framed certificates covered an entire wall in his office. Parents fought to get their kids into his program because his students always got into elite schools. I drove home that night and told my wife everything was fine. But the next week, I noticed something that made my blood pressure spike. A mother named Colleen mentioned at pickup that Dr. Harmon suggested her family increase their monthly donation to secure her son's spot. Her voice trembled as she dug through her purse for her checkbook. I watched her write a check for $3,000 with tears in her eyes. Another father told me he refinanced his house after Dr. Harmon recommended intensive weekend tutoring sessions. The tutoring company was owned by Dr. Harmon's wife. I pulled out my phone and started researching every business connected to his name. I found 17 different companies all funneling money back to the same address. I printed the records at my office and spread them across my kitchen table. My wife walked in and asked what I was doing. I pointed at the papers and told her the gifted program was a scam. She picked up one document and her face went pale. I showed her bank records from 3 families who had gone into serious debt. She dropped the paper and grabbed the edge of the counter. I pulled up screenshots of his candidate tracking files on my laptop. Her hand flew to her mouth when she saw the notes. I explained that getting Mila rejected was the only way to trigger a formal review. She slammed her fist on the table. I told her I needed her to trust me. I contacted Mila's teacher and requested she include concerns about social adjustment in the evaluation. The teacher's pen stopped moving across her notepad. She asked why a father would sabotage his own child. I slid a folder across her desk containing everything I had found. Her eyes went wide as she flipped through the pages. She picked up her phone and called the principal immediately. I heard shouting through the receiver. The principal burst into the classroom 3 minutes later with sweat on his forehead. He grabbed the folder and his hand started trembling as he read. Another teacher appeared in the doorway asking what was happening. Word spread through the building faster than I could track. By the end of the day, 4 more parents came forward with financial records. The school board held an emergency hearing the following week in the district auditorium. Dr. Harmon sat at the front table adjusting his tie with shaking fingers. I stood at the microphone and connected my laptop to the projector screen. The room went silent as I displayed 18 years of fraudulent billing records. Parents gasped and grabbed each other's arms throughout the crowd. I showed the candidate tracking files with notes about targeting wealthy families. A mother in the 3rd row started sobbing and collapsed against her husband. Dr. Harmon jumped up and pointed his finger at me, screaming that I was lying. 2 police officers stepped forward and grabbed his arms. They escorted him out the side door while cameras flashed from every direction. The district launched a full investigation and discovered he had stolen over $2 million from families. Mila got accepted into the reformed program 3 months later under new leadership. I still have the rejection letter framed in my office as proof that sometimes you have to lose everything to save everyone.